Hey guys, what's going on? Druzy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video, and I do apologize for the extreme lateness in this video. Generally, I try to do this video, the tier list for each month, towards the beginning of the month. I know it is almost the end of the month now as I'm doing this. I mean, the season reset is going to be next week after this video goes live, so I am aware of that. I do apologize for that. I will make a conscious effort to do this much sooner in the future. But we do have a bunch of new cards that have come out for the superhero theme in this last month, and midway through last month, there are 3 new cards in the superhero theme now in the game, so we have a lot to talk about here today. So, we're just going to go in one by one. We're going to do this a little bit differently this time. So this tier list is going to focus on the gold bracketed cards. I will go through any changes that I did make to the tier list, which I did make a few changes this time. I'm also going to be gold bracketing every card in each theme that is currently in the current meta for Legendary Arena. So these are the cards that when you see this theme played out in Legendary Arena, most likely they will be what the true meta is, or the most played, most used cards due to both their usefulness and people have them now leveled up to where they're actually playable. So we're going to talk about those cards. We're going to talk about any tweaks and changes, but we're going to try to get through this video a little bit quicker than normally we do with these tier lists. So let's just go straight into Adventure right away. Alright guys, so here is Adventure. There is no changes that I have made to the cards in this tier list. Now remember, Shelly is going to be getting a buff coming up in this next update, which is going to be next week. So we may see a shift for Sharpshooter Shelly, which is still in CT right now. As far as the gold bracketed cards, the top 3 cards in the G, obviously they're going to be up there. You also have Sharon, you also have Hook and Clyde, Lightning Bolt, Aerostorm. Aerostorm I think is going to be significantly used more often now by Adventure users because of the fact that some of these swarm units, rats, pigeons, and underpants gnomes are all going to be getting buffs here this coming week. So Aerostorm already is running rampant because of the cock swarms, because of Amazingly Randy, because of all the range units, because of visitors being played. There's a lot of reasons to play Aerostorm, but Aerostorm has even more value now with this coming out. I've also noticed a large increase in Fireball usage lately, and I'm not saying that Fireball is a terrible card. I know it's in the B section, but it had potential to be up in the A point. And I've been seeing, since I've been playing superheroes a lot more, I've been noticing Fireball been used a lot more. Maybe people now have it to level 6 to where it's a much more usable card. I only have it to level 5. I have used it on occasion, but I don't find Fireball's value to come out very often at level 5. I feel like at level 6 though, most likely, it would be a valuable card to play at 5 energy to pretty much wipe out or almost wipe out most cards in a certain area. So I see Fireball's usage being increased, so that's why it's bracketed as well. But that's Adventure. Let's move on to Sci-Fi. Alright guys, so only one change has happened here on the tier list for Sci-Fi, and that is visitors have moved up a spot from C to B. They are running rampant right now because of Bradley and how good Bradley is, even though Bradley's going to be tweaked. We'll talk about that in a minute. But visitors are much better now. They are in a much better scene. A lot of people have them to 5, a lot of people have them to 6, and because of this, you're seeing visitors used a lot. They have a lot of value. They're able to survive a lot more things than they were in the past. It's just a little bit more difficult to kill them, therefore I think that there's a little bit more value there, so that's why they got moved up. But as for the gold bracketed for Sci-Fi, you've seen a lot of Bounty Hunter Kyle for obvious reasons, Osimo and Mecha Timmy. You see a lot of Enforcer Jimmy due to his cost. You see Robo Bebe decently. I wouldn't say it runs rampant because Blood Elf Bebe is better in every way. If you're not running any other Bebe option, Medusa may be better than even Robo Bebe. But Robo Bebe has a lot of value with Bradley as well, like I stated. You see a lot of Warboy Tweak. I've been using him a lot more, and now that I have him to level 6, he's very useful right now. Mind Control is still pretty popular, especially to deal with Douglases, deal with other cards that are very annoying. Astro Butters is pretty meta, but isn't fully meta all the time in Legendary Arena. There are a lot of better Butters out there, so it's kind of hit and miss as far as this Butters being up there. You have Space Warrior Token. Space Warrior Token has seen a huge increase in his usage just due to the fact that his energy cost was reduced from 3 to 2. That alone has made him a more useful card. I still find him in the B tier. I don't quite see him quite to A yet. I think he might get there soon enough. Alien Drone is flirting with A, and I feel like Alien Drone is being played a lot more just because of the strength of its defense right now. It's a much stronger card than it was once since the recent buff to it. You see a lot more of 6 Element Randy. I don't think 6 Element Randy is quite yet to A tier. He might be close, and Visitors are probably close to eventually becoming A themselves, just with the way that and the value that they have right now. But that's all the cards pretty much that you will see for a sci-fi style player. But now let's just quickly move on to Mystical. Alright guys, moving on to Mystical. Obviously all the cards in G are going to be very meta right now. That's why they are up there. There is some issues with Pope Timmy apparently that people have been talking about. So allegedly Pope Timmy revives a unit at the base level of whatever their level is. So if you say bring back a level 5 Zen Cartman, and you have Zen Cartman maxed out at level 5, he will bring back that Zen Cartman at base level 5 stats, is allegedly the issue that's happening with Pope Timmy. I don't know if Red Links did that as a default nerf or if that is just a bug right now. Nobody has said anything to my knowledge about it, but that is something that people have been reporting. So, but Pope Timmy is still ridiculously strong even with that being the case, if that is truly the case. Then you definitely see those top 3 cards there in the A tier are also running rampant right now with Choir Boy Butters, Hermes Kenny, Zen Cartman for obvious reasons. I see Powerbind using a lot more often. It's just very good to try to deal with, the Psalm and Santa issues that are plaguing the meta right now. So that's just easily, an easy 2 energy cost card that just has a lot of value right now with how ridiculous some of these charge cards are being used right now, because charge cards are very strong, so it makes sense to use Powerbind. And then Energy Staff generally is used quite a bit by the Legendary meta because a lot of these cards are fairly expensive, and therefore you're going to need that Energy Staff, especially if you want to play Timmy multiple times. You're going to need Energy Staff to get that energy back, and it's just good value for most people with some of these higher cost decks. So that's pretty much the meta for Mystical. There were no changes to any cards specifically as far as where they fell within the tier list, but let's just move on quickly again to Fantasy. Alright guys, so Fantasy has seen a tweak here. So, obviously, all the cards in G are still widely used. We'll see what happens to Elven King Bradley. So Elven King Bradley is getting a nerf. If you didn't check out that information, my last video that I did post talked about the Elven King Bradley nerfs that are going to be coming. So there's going to be a nerf to the damage boost that he gives to the range units, as well as his movement speed will be 19% more. So he will move faster going towards your new kid from the enemy new kid. So Bradley will hopefully not be on the field quite as long, just with the fact of his movement speed being increased. So we'll see what ends up happening with Elven King Bradley there. I still don't think it's going to remove him from the meta at all. I think it's going to tweak him enough to where he won't be as overpowered as he kind of is right now. But I really think the range boost is his big bread and butter. That is what makes him so useful. And if you can have 2 to 3 range units on the field with Elven King Bradley, it's pretty much game over. So there are some ways of dealing with some of these range units. Again, Aerostorm, like I talked about. Fireball is now being used a lot, I think, to deal with those range units as well. So there are some options out there. But I think Bradley is still extremely strong. Paladin Butters is still widely used in the meta. I find Rogue Token is widely used in the meta, as well as Slave, because Slave is actually a pretty decent range card, or tank card, I'm sorry, at 4 and 5. He just provides a lot of value with this healing and stuff like that. Transmogrify is widely used in the meta. As you can see below my camera, unfortunately I am kind of blocking it, I have moved up Witch Garrison from C tier all the way to A tier. Witch Garrison's buff that he received this last season, so a couple weeks ago, was insane. He is so good now, and he's widely being used because of that. He's much better in challenge mode. He's very good even on ladder now. I don't think he's quite to G tier. Some of you might think, Druzy, this is way too much of an increase for Witch Garrison, but I don't think you guys have really used Witch Garrison enough to really truly, just the fact that he gets his charge back at a very quick rate, the fact that it now affects half the damn battlefield, it's so good. He really is a very valuable card. He's basically a second tank card. As a fighter unit, it's insane the value he can provide with that slow, the fact that he can just take so many more hits so he can survive so much longer. If you don't deal with Witch Garrison, I mean, people are direct canceling Witch Garrison. That's how strong he is now, guys. I'm serious. I really think he's an A tier. I think he's a much better card right now. And the rest, I did drop Robin Tweak down from B to C. You just don't see Robin Tweak used very often in Legendary Arena. I don't think Robin Tweak has the same value he had. At one point, it was just all about Robin Tweak, Canadian Ike, and Hanky. That combo doesn't really seem to be used much anymore. I just don't think Robin Tweak's boost to the health that he gives out is worth the 4 energy cost that he is. I don't think that he provides that much value with his damage, with his range, things like that. Yes, the boost to health is nice, especially if you can control it, because it can be random if you have multiple units on the field, obviously. But I don't think Robin Tweak is as good as he once was. That's why I put him down in C tier. Even though nothing has happened to him, I just think he has fallen a little bit just for the fact that he just doesn't provide the same level of value, in my opinion, that he did a while back. So we're going to, again, move on this time to neutral. Alright guys, so checking out neutral theme, there's really only a couple of cards from neutral that are widely used, which the 2 G tier cards are still way up there. Santa is widely the most used neutral card right now. Hanky is in a very close second. I've seen a lot more Terrence and Phillip being played in Legendary Arena. Tally and Marcus have always been used for quite a bit. Marcus is extremely strong. I'm about to get him, I just got him to level 5. I'm going to start using Marcus a lot more. I have Tally to level 5. I love Tally. I love his slow potential. As far as I am aware, the Tally slow does not duplicate with Witch Garrison. So if you have Witch Garrison and Tally, you don't get twice the slow. I think it's just the same amount of slow. So it's probably not ideal to use both of them at the same time unless you're just in between Witch Garrison usage. So that's something. I will state that with the buffs that are going to be coming to Pigeon Gain here soon and Rats, which are both a neutral theme, you might see a lot more Terrence and Phillip return, and Nathan might possibly have a resurgence into the meta here with these swarm units. I feel like Terrence Mephisto will see probably more play again. He is still used somewhat in the meta. I think he took a back seat with a lot of the swarms just being the cock units and nobody using them, but I definitely think that Mephisto will see a resurgence most likely here very soon, just with the fact of those changes. But now let's move on to what many of you wanted to see, and that's where superheroes are. Alright guys, moving on to superheroes, so not much change has made. We did move Human Kite up from A tier to G tier. Human Kite is really good right now. I didn't go with what the current meta is for this theme. I went with what the new cards are for this theme or any changes I made to this theme for superheroes. Since it's still relatively new, there's only about 13 cards, I think, for the theme right now, 13 or 14. So it's still very, new into its infancy right now as far as what superheroes lie. Professor Chaos was integrated when he originally came into the game. I would have had Professor Chaos at an A. I think Professor Chaos is a G now with the buff that he recently received. The fact that he no longer attacks his own units, the fact that he can't be mind controlled, that he does direct damage instead of having a Death Wish. He has the same stats as Choir Boy Butters at same level, but does attack a little bit faster than Choir Boy Butters, just puts him to put that much ridiculous value on Chaos. I think Chaos is a really strong card, and a lot of people will play him more if they're playing superheroes and they have him to a decent level. I have him to level 5, and he's pretty solid for me, in all honesty. Dr. Timothy is the newest card to be added to the game. He is an A tier right now. Dr. Timothy is very strong. He has very good scaling for both his base health and base damage, and his ability isn't great. It's cool, it's new, it's different, which I do like the uniqueness of it, but as far as the value, it's there. There's some value. I'm not saying there's no value, but it's not the strongest thing that we could have. It does come back relatively fast. He does have the same range as most of the other Timmies, and he has very good slow movement, which is very nice to help him be able to stay behind those other tanky, beefy cards and be able to dish out the damage that he does. So I really like where Dr. Timothy is at. That's why he's an A tier. Also, another bug or possible nerf that I've been noticing that people have been talking about, and I have noticed in matches myself, Mysterion has mysteriously had a mild nerf done to him, or a bug of some kind, to where when he respawns at base level, at level 1. I believe it's base level 1 of his actual stats. So I have him at max level 4 right now. So when he was respawning, he was getting killed almost instantaneously, because I believe he spawns back at base level 1 stats, which basically makes him worthless on Legendary Arena. So if you're playing Mysterion right now, stop. Until Mysterion is fixed, which I will let you guys know as soon as Mysterion is fixed. Redlinks hasn't officially stated this is a problem, but he dies way too fast for max level 4 stats when he revives. So until he's fixed, Mysterion is a worthless card to play right now. Do not play him right now. I'm helping you right now, in all honesty. Lava has come into the game. Lava has a nice slow effect to it. Decent damage over time, but it isn't that great of a card. It's okay. You're not going to see Lava used very much. I have Lava to level 5. Once I get to level 6, maybe you'll see some more play of it from me, and I'll really get a full assessment of how good this card can be. But right now at level 5, in Legendary Arena, it's not very good. It just doesn't provide... It can be very situationally useful. That's why it's in C tier, because it doesn't have true usefulness all the time, which I'm not saying all cards even do, but It should have a little bit more value just for its defensive purposes, in my opinion. It doesn't seem to have it to me, so that's why it's in C tier, but some of you might think it's a B or an A tier card. I don't really know, but that's where I view superheroes. So let's, again, wrap up where all the themes lie on the tier list for the best theme right now in the meta, and then we will wrap up the video. Alright guys, so to me, the meta has not changed as far as where the best themes lie. Mystical still the strongest, fantasy still the second strongest to me, adventure still third, superheroes still fourth, sci-fi fifth, and neutral sixth. And honestly, I think fantasy might be interchanged out with adventure here coming up. Once we really see the Bradley nerf and see what it does to the theme itself. I know Ink and Craig is getting a nerf here in the most recent, or is going to be getting a nerf here, but I don't think that the Ink and Craig nerf is going to be enough to remove him from the meta. I don't think it's going to remove Elven King Bradley either. But I think just the true value of Elven King Bradley right now for fantasy makes it that much better of a theme than adventure. I think adventure could move up just because of its value and the fact that so many people are playing adventure right now for obvious reasons, because it's so strong, because a lot of them have Pocahontas Rainey leveled up, a lot of them have Medicine Woman Sharon leveled up, and Ink and Craig as well, along with Stand of Many Moons. So there are some reasons for adventure to be considered a top meta or top theme in the meta. And all the rest, in all opinion, are just kind of where they're at. I think that the top three are the closest, and then 4, 5, and 6 are pretty much nowhere near the top three right now, but they have to be on the list somewhere, because I can't just put 1, 3, and then 6 for all the other ones, because in all honesty, superhero, sci-fi, and neutral are probably just in their own bracket, and then adventure, fantasy, and mystical are just in their own category altogether as far as strength right now in the meta. But what do you guys think? Do you guys agree, disagree with any of the changes that I made to the tier list, to the way the tier list is being done? Any changes you would like to see to the tier list? Let me know down below. As always, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the continued support. And until next time, guys, my name is Jersey.